The New South Wales Government has confirmed it will put an end to rental bidding. It's the process which allows real estate agents to drive up tenancy prices. It will be illegal by Saturday. It comes after a study by the Daily Telegraph revealed more than 80% of real estate agents in New South Wales are encouraging rent bidding. The Premier and Fair Trading Minister Victor Dominello confirmed in a press conference today it will be outlawed to advertise a property within a range or negotiation price.
Real estate agents will no longer be able to enter into bidding wars with prospective tenants. This is all about providing certainty and opportunity for people across our great state. We know there are challenges, not just in purchasing your first home, but also in terms of renting. The rental market is tight, so putting an end to auctions in the rental market is a very important step that the New South Wales Government is making today. It will come into effect this Saturday.
Opposition leader Chris Minns is set to push for even stronger laws, calling for agents to disclose to applicants whether a higher bid has been lodged. Mr Minns has also announced he will introduce a rental commissioner if Labor win the election in March.
If we win the election, Labor will introduce a portable bond scheme. We will establish a rental commissioner in New South Wales, and we will end the idea of secret bidding on properties right throughout New South Wales.
We have similar legislation in place already in Queensland, Victoria and Tasmania. So what does the industry make of this? Real Estate of New South Wales CEO Tim McKibbin joins me for more. Thanks for your time. What have you made, I guess, first of all, of the story and the reaction from both major parties now?
The fundamental problem we have is a lack of supply of property. That's the fundamental problem. So if we outlaw rental bidding, as the government is suggesting, I suggest to you that is purely politics. When somebody comes to an open, we have, let's say, 30 people coming into the open. Now, regardless of what rent somebody is paying for that property, there are going to be 29 people who will be unsuccessful. And that is the reality of it. And I think what's happening here, government is trying to divert the attention away from itself and blaming landlords, blaming real estate agents. But as I said, the fundamental problem is we just don't have enough property. Now, with all of the media that this particular issue has attracted, I think that the tenants are very much on notice now that people will come to an open. They'll ask what the price is, what the rent is, what the landlord is seeking in rent, and that might be $500. And they will say, because they're desperate to get somewhere to live, they'll say, I'm prepared to pay $550. Now, I don't think that we're able to stop that.
Let me jump in. Okay, so I understand what you're saying about supply, and that clearly is an issue right now. It's not going to be fixed tomorrow. So doesn't this still help people out? Because the market's so tight. You spoke about 30 people turning up for this open inspection. And if the price of getting the property has just become offering another $100, yes, the same amount of people will be in properties, but they'll all be paying more rent. And that's really high at the moment historically. So does this will help people not have to pay skyrocketing rent?
I think we have to accept the market. Now, one of the great sayings is the market never lies. So if the market itself is pushing up prices, if we intervene in that, then we are interfering in a free market. And I don't think any government has had a great history of intervening in what is a free market. And if,
people can still set the price, though. So the market's free to set the price. It's just that the government's not saying here's the percent of rent and so on. So the market's still setting the price. You yourself said we have a supply issue. So if there's a supply issue, the market supply is not there. The market's somewhat broken. And yes, we need longer term solutions. I take what you're saying about supply, but you've got a broken market right now because there's not enough supply. And if we just let the market sort out the rest, people will pay more rent than they otherwise would. So that's the problem and the albeit short-term solution.
Yeah, if somebody is prepared to pay above above the asking price of the landlord, then the agent is obligated to take that offer, so to speak, to the landlord for instructions. They're obligated to do that under the legislation. Now, if somebody is prepared to pay more for the property and they, by doing that, acquire the property, then that is one person of the 30 that has been successful. So if we were to instigate rent control, which is really what the government is suggesting, then yes, you'd have I guess a level playing field in there, but it is not reflecting what the market is prepared to pay. So my suggestion,
but that's as I said, that's somewhat of a broken market, as you alluded to yourself, in terms of supply. And yes, at that open, 29 people, the same number, leave without a property, but those 29 eventually go through and they sort of think we better offer way above what's being listed here and pay above, otherwise we won't get a property. So that's what this is trying to, and presumably will, fix, right?
I'm not sure it actually fixes anything. As I said to you, I think we should be focusing our energies on increasing supply. So the market, as I said a second ago, the market will pay what the market is prepared to pay. And if somebody is prepared to pay an offer above the what the landlord is seeking, then they are, because they are looking to differentiate themselves from the competition in there. And again, back to my example of the 29 people, they're prepared to do that, and the agent will then put that to the landlord. And I think a lot of landlords are going to find that attractive, because their interest they're paying on their loans are going up, and various other things in the landlord's life. Because they're still free. Yeah, we're nearly out of time. They're still free to start that higher advertised price. So that's the issue. I mean, well, that's right.
What you're talking about is fine in terms of saying how much do you want this item and let the market decide, and that's more acceptable if you're talking about the price of a computer, whatever it might be. How much does a fancy restaurant steak cost? But housing, people will pay beyond what they even should, because we need a house, we need a roof over our heads. This is a bit more fundamental than letting the market rip in those other areas and saying, what are you prepared to pay? Don't you see this as a bit more of a fundamental societal need versus just a market?
I agree with you. That is the thing about housing. It's like food and water. We've got to have shelter, and I agree with all of that. But if we don't allow the market to do what it will do, and therefore the investor is the landlord, and they're subsidising the rent here, then that will look unattractive. We know landlords are leaving the market now. They are leaving the market. The data's very clear on that.
All right.
And because they're leaving, that is putting additional pressure on the supply.
We're going to leave it there, Tim. It's going to be something that plays out in this election period. It seems there'll be a change one way or the other, and we'll see what happens on the supply side as well. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Tom.